Yes, now, bless now. Don't forget the rest now. Quick trim up, people. Wah, 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 wah. I think I need to grow into it a little bit, but here we are. There's Rocksteady at King of the Pit TV signing in. I'm going to learn about moshing today, people. We're all going to learn about moshing today, alright? It's what we do. Let me get a little bit closer, yeah? Let's cast judgment on Wikipedia's article. Beginner's mind. I don't know what moshing is. Shall we find out, people? Here we are. So, moshing, also known as slam dancing or simply slamming, is an extreme style of dancing in which participants push or slam into each other, typically performed to aggressive live music such as heavy metal and punk rock. Moshing usually happens in the centre of the crowd, generally closer to the stage, in an area called the mosh pit. It is intended to be energetic and full of body contact. Yeah, it's a full contact sport, that's what I believe, people. That's what I believe. The dance style originated in the hardcore punk scenes of California and Washington, D.C. around 1980. Through the 1980s, I'm speaking like it's some sort of, I'll get to it, right? Through the 1980s, it spread to other branches of punk rock as well as grunge and thrash metal. Who's moshing to grunge music? What grunge bands are we moshing to, people? Let me know. I know Nirvana had a couple of numbers and all that, but generally speaking, I can't see people moshing to grunge. Well, not in a favourable manner. And thrash metal, which exposed it to the mainstream. Since then, moshing has occasionally been performed to energetic music within a wide variety of genres, including alternative rock, electronic dance music, and hip-hop, while remaining a staple in heavy metal shows. Variations of moshing exist, including pogoing. I like a good pogo, me. You know what? I do like a good pogo. You will catch me doing a quick pogo from time to time. Let's see if it fulfills the criteria. It's a dance in which the dancers jump up and down while remaining on the spot or moving around. Yeah, I like a good pogo. Circle pits and wall of death. I've never participated in like a real grand wall of death because I don't go to like big festivals and stuff. Well, big metal festivals. So I don't know if I've ever participated in a proper wall of death before. Dancing can be done alone as well as in groups. While moshing is seen as a form of positive fan feedback or of expression of enjoyment, it has also drawn criticism over dangerous excesses in its violence. Injuries and even deaths have been reported in the crush of mosh pits. I won't go into too much depth, for obvious reasons when you hear it. I know a guy lost his arm due to moshing. Yeah? That's crazy. Like, literally lost his arm, needed to have his arm taken off. So you don't think it can you don't think it can happen, but it can happen, and of course, ambulances and so on and so forth. If anybody doesn't know, as far as moshing is concerned, I do like a good push party here and there and all that, but I have a forte in like violent dancing, like hardcore style, and I think the more extreme it is, the more ignorant it is, the more it excites me. You know what I mean? I want to relive the buzz I experienced when I initially started going to shows, because you become accustomed to it and it just becomes tame from there on. So the more intense and, dangerous, the better, in my opinion. I live in the UK. We don't have to pay for healthcare, so you know where I'm coming from. We got a little photo here. I don't know if I'm blocking it up. Audience members moshing to American thrash metal band Toxic Holocaust. Toxic Holocaust is a band I've just been triggered to do a reaction series on, because from what I've heard of Toxic Holocaust, they're a sick band and they're right up my alley as far as like punk infused thrash metal. And that was in the early 1980s. Oh no, that's the origin of moshing I was about to say. Toxic Holocaust in the early 80s blows my head off if that's the case. History, etymology. The term mosh came into use in the early 1980s American hardcore scene. Before reading it, some people have told me that it stood of March of Skinheads. So let's continue on. Early on, the dance was frequently spelled mash in fanzines and record liner notes, but pronounced mosh, as in the 1982 song Total Mash by the DC-based hardcore band Scream. HR of the band Bad Brains, regarded as a band that put moshing on the map, used the term mash in lyrics and in concert stage banter to both incite and describe the aggressive and often violent dancing to the scene. To mash it up was to go wild. Mash it up, rude boy, was to go wild with the frenzy of the music. Due to his Jamaican accented pronunciation of the word, fans heard this as mosh instead. Yeah, if that's the truth, that's a deep one right there. That's a deep one right there. People were moshing before the Bad Brains though, don't get me wrong. But if that's where the term came from, that's pretty cool. And to use mash, I think that makes complete sense. It is a mash, let's mash it up. By the mid-80s, the term was appearing in print with its current spelling. By the time thrash metal band Anthrax used the term in their song Caught in a Mosh, the song was already a mainstay of hardcore and thrash scenes. Scott Ian and Charlie Benante of Anthrax and Stormtroopers of Death have both been credited with the term originating from Vinnie Stigma of the New York hardcore band Agnostic Front. Wait a minute, what? Both being credited with the term originating from... What does that mean? What does that mean? What does it mean? Scott Ian and Charlie Benante of Anthrax and SOD have both been credited with the term originating from Vinnie Stigma of the New York hardcore band Agnostic Front. I don't get it. What? So has Vinnie Stigma said it's them? Or they've used it and then said Vinnie Stigma owns the rights? Through the mainstream success of bands like Anthrax, SOD and multiple thrash metal bands in the 80s, the term came into the popular vernacular, the spectacular vernacular. Cool. Origins. Here, are we going to talk about crowd killing? That's what I want to know. Bam, bam. Oh, is crowd killing so niche, not even Wikipedia dare touch it. Origins. The first dance identifiable as moshing may have originated in Orange County, California during the first wave of American hardcore. Examples of this early moshing can be seen in the documentaries Another State of Mind. I've not heard of that. What's that? Another State of Mind. 82, chronicling the 10 Social Distortion and Youth Brigade. Interesting stuff. People, I've listened to the first Social Distortion record on this channel. I thought it was crap. I thought it was absolutely rubbish. Good Charlotte give a lot of credit to Social Distortion. And I like Good Charlotte. At least I really like the early Good Charlotte stuff. So I thought, oh yeah, Social Distortion will be sick. I don't think much to him. Another State of Mind, Urban Struggle, the Decline of Western Civilization and American Hardcore, as well as footage from the shows of the era. Dave Wood, an avid concert-goer and roader of the Weirdos, popularised moshing at a show at the Roxy in 77. At the time, California hardcore punk bands such as Black Flag and Fear were becoming popular in Orange County. Jerry Roach's club, the Cuckoo's Nest, in Costa Mesa was known as the birthplace of slam dancing. Fear's 81 musical performance on Saturday Night Live also helped to expose moshing to a Watch Rider audience. Cool. Crossover into mainstream genres. By the end of the 80s, the initial wave of American hardcore punk had waned and split into other subgenres. The Seattle-based grunge movement was... Wait, what? The Seattle-based grunge movement was among the many styles of music that directly evolved from hardcore. What? Grunge fuses elements of punk rock and heavy metal, but without punk's structure and speed. What are you on about? I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that. I don't know if I believe that. The grunge we've been listening to on this channel, the heavy hitters of grunge, they sound more rock band. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with that. But then again, I don't know much about grunge, so you're going to have to let me know. Through the mainstream success of several grunge bands, the word mosh entered the popular North American vocab, and the dance spread to other music genres. According to John Little of They Might Be Giants, it didn't matter what kind of music you were playing or what kind of band you were, everybody moshed to everything. It was kind of the enforced rule going to concerts. I saw the Specials ska band, if you don't know, British two-tone ska band and I drunk way too much, and I sort of associate the specials with punk rock music, and I just started crawling on people's heads, and I pissed so many people off. All of the mods, all of these old age mod people just started gassing me. You need to go to the back. You need to leave. You need to leave. And so is life. I did it at the Black Dahlia murder as well. I was just kicking off, stage diving off of every side of the stage, consistent. And then all of the metalheads started to get really annoyed at me. So there's a little insight of some funny activity I had when it came to moshing in inappropriate places. Believe it or not, actually, I saw Discharge as well. I performed with Discharge with my debut band, Chimpanzee. Well, the debut performance of my band, Chimpanzee. They were a hardcore punk band. And we supported Discharge. And I was diving off of people's heads then. You'd think it'd be alright, but all of these old heads, man, all these old age heads, like literally someone started attacking me for stage diving during Discharge, because you know what I mean, because it's Discharge, we just have to stand here and be bored and be boring, pissing me off. The pogo was the first form of by the way, I put him to sleep. The pogo was the first form of moshing according to the Filth and the Fury. What's that? British rockumentary. Follows the story of punk rock pioneers the Pistols from their humble beginning. Humble beginning? The fucking boy band. It was invented by Sex Pistols bassist Sid Vicious in '76. Apparently. That Sex Pistols band is so fabricated that I don't know what to believe when it comes to that. A circle pit is a form of moshing in which participants run in a circular motion around the edges of the pit, often leaving an open space in the centre. If you ever want to see people who can't be arsed, see a circle pit at a hardcore punk gig. If you get more than 5 people, you're laughing. People don't give a flying fuck. A wall of death is a form of moshing which sees the audience bit theatrical. A wall of death. I don't think much to walls of death, to be honest. It's very novelty. According to Noise Creep, the consensus is that it was invented by American hardcore punk band Sick of It All. I could see Sick of It All doing something like that. However, the band's vocalist Lou Collar stated that he merely revived the practice in '96, as he often saw a similar act performed in the '80s New York hardcore scene. Loudwire senior writer Graham Hartman referred to it as perhaps the most badass and dangerous ritual you can experience in a mosh pit. Venues will often ask bands not to organise the Wall of Deaths themselves due to inherent risk involved and liability. Oh, I remember back in the day seeing metal bands opening it up. It's funny because that's how it happens in metal shows, isn't it? Whereas in hardcore shows, you just man, it's been a long while since I've honestly gone and like paid into watching metal bands. It's been I've done a little bit of selling merch and stuff, working at merch table, and you know what I mean, getting a freebie in and out to see mates and stuff performing who might be supporting some other metal bands. But other than that, hardcore dancing is a term that covers multiple styles of moshing, including windmilling, two-stepping, floor punching, picking up the pennies, axe handling. What the hell is this stuff? Axe handling, bucking, and wheelbarrowing. I'll tell you what, it's King of the Pit TV, and I don't know what axe handling is. No one talks about that shit. No one talks about bucking. No one talks about wheelbarrowing. No one gives a fuck about that. Floor punching is for the old heads. Two-stepping won't die. There's an entire... You know what I mean? Two-stepping is what you do to a particular beat. Like, you do your variation. You just put your dancing shoes on and go for a mooch. I call it going for a mooch. That should be in here. I might edit this Wikipedia. Windmilling. Classic. Picking up the pennies. Crowd killing. We've got a section on crowd killing. Crowd killing is when a mosher moshes against the crowd around the sides of the pit. According to Kerrang writer Amanda Van Posnak, it is generally looked down upon. Depends where you're at. Yeah, shout out to Amanda Van Posnak for your little comment there. I like that crowd killing's being put in there. I did not expect that. Physical properties of emergent behaviour. Researchers from Cornell University studied the emergent behaviour of crowds at mosh pits by analysing online videos, finding similarities with models of 2D gases in equilibrium. Simulating the crowds with computer models, they found out that a simulation dominated by flocking parameters produced highly ordered behaviour, forming vortices like those seen in the videos. What are you on about? What are you on about? Shut up. Shut up. Who cares? Opposition, criticism, and controversy. This'll be good. This'll be good. Hold on. Where are we at? 15 minutes into the video. We might be getting to the good stuff here. The American post-hardcore band Fugazi opposed slam dancing at their live shows. Members of Fugazi, or Fugazi, I don't know how you pronounce it, were reported to single out and confront specific members of the audience, politely asking them to stop hurting other audience members or hauling them on stage to apologise on the microphone. You know what? Fuck 'em. Fuck 'em. Piss off. Ian McKay and all that. Fuck off. If I come and mosh and you don't like it, you're getting moshed out. Simple as. I'm taking it to the stage. I place myself on stage. Everyone's a target. Ah! Everyone's getting moshed out, including the band. The drummer's getting moshed out. The drum kit's getting moshed out. The amps are getting moshed out. Fist straight through the Marshall. Straight through the Marshall cabs. Monitors are getting moshed out. If I want to mosh, you're not stopping me. This is King of the Pit TV. Consolidated, an industrial dance group of the 90s, stood against moshing. On their third album, Play More Music, they included the song The Men's Movement, which proclaimed the inappropriate nature of slam dancing. The song consisted of audio recordings during concerts when the audience and members of Consolidated argued about moshing. Consolidated, who are you? Who are you, Consolidated? You sad axe. A radical activist. Yeah, you sound very radical and activist. Here, if you go against moshing, you go against me. That's all I'm saying, people. That's all. It's King of the Pit TV. We don't mess around. We don't mess around. Everyone's a target. We don't mess around. In the 1990s, the Smashing Pumpkins took a stance against moshing, following two incidents which resulted in fatalities. At 96 Pumpkins concert in Dublin, 17-year-old Bernadette O'Brien was crushed by moshing crowd members and later died in the hospital, despite warnings from the band that people were getting hurt. At another concert, singer Billy Corgan said this to the audience. I just want to say one thing to you, you young college lughead types. I've been watching people like you slugging around other people for 7 years, and you know what? It's the same shit. I wish you'd understand that in an environment like this, and in a setting like this, it's fairly inappropriate and unfair to the rest of the people around you. I and we publicly take a stand against moshing. Do you know what that is? That's a comment from a guy who's never moshed in his life. That's a guy who's never gone for a dip in the crowd. He's never gone for a mooch side to side. He's never felt the thrill of a fist just flying across his face. If anything, I would say Billy Corgan's been moshed out a couple of times before. Billy Corgan's been stood at the side minding his own business, and some guy's moshed him out, and he's had a bad day. He's had a very bad day. He's gone home feeling angry. Started a band based around it called the Smashing Pumpkins, because that pumpkin was his head getting smashed by Big Terry. Big Terry, 6'7", no messing about. No one's giving him pit beef. That's it. Billy Corgan got hate moshed by big 6'7" Terry to hate breed during the Satisfaction is the Death of Desire period of the band. Where is Billy Corgan from? Billy Corgan is from Chicago, Illinois. My man Billy Corgan. What hardcore band was from? I don't know. But he's currently the owner and promoter of the National Wrestling Alliance. What's that? Is that legitimate wrestling or is it entertainment? What's professional wrestling? A form of theatre. Oh, you sad act. Yeah, I don't support that either. If you're going to have a scrap, do a fucking scrap. You know what I mean? Billy Corgan, it's beef. Another fan died after that, another person bloody died. Another fan died. After all that, another person died. That's not good. That's not good. Another fan died at a Smashing Pumpkins concert in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, On September 24th, 2007, 20-year-old male was dragged out of the mosh pit unconscious to be pronounced dead at a hospital after first aid specialists attempted to save him. Now let me tell you something, right? I don't know what's going on at these events, but the Smashing Pumpkins are a big band. And when we talk about trampling, and when we talk about all of this and that, I know the problem, more than likely, is going to be down to the capacity. Because we've all been to venues where they've capped out. And then when you've capped out, you've got people in guest lists sneaking in. You've got band's friends sneaking in. You've got members of staff sneaking in. Merch guys sneaking in. All these people who shouldn't be there in. And you have this rammed venue where I've been there. I seen Gallows, yeah? At a venue near me. This is when Frank Carter were fronting him. Back when Gallows was good, basically. And I stage dived off at front. I fell back, head down to the floor, right? In this rammed, packed room. I'm underneath, submerged, in all of these people squeezed together, standing upright. I'm touching the floor. I see feet everywhere. So they're moving, potentially kicking me in the head. I'm claustrophobic. That's a venue problem. It's not a moshing problem. It's not a band problem. The venue should not allow that. And when I was younger, I've put on a show before, right, where the venues had a go at me saying we can't. This was a headline event for a band I was in, yeah. I put the show on. I made it a free show, and with it being a free show and me rinsing the promotion, it was rammed, and the venue's saying, we're going to have to move this to the main room. We can't have this on here. But I wanted that DIY gritty space they had at the side. And I'm saying, no. The event ended up going through, right? Nothing bad happened. But I did not see the vision at that time. But now I do. It's bad. It's bad. People can get crushed. And it's not to be looked at the community. Then people have gone there to pay the band to have a good time and to enjoy themselves and to dance and to engage with each other and to let off some steam when they work all week. They want to let it loose. You shouldn't tell them to stop moshing because other people might get hurt. It's the venue capacity. Give people space to get out of the way if they don't want it. Simples. Real Big Fish's 1998 album, Why Do They Rock So Hard, included their mosh criticising song, Thank You For Not Moshing, which contained lyrics that suggested that at least some individuals in the mosh pit were simply bullies who were finding conformity in the violence. That is true. You do get bullies, and especially in hardcore music, it is absolutely rammed full of egotistical idiots. But you can't help that. That's the same with the skanking at the Real Big Fish concert and so on and so forth. That's the same with people up the front who gets bumped into just because you're trying to get through front. They spill their beer on them. Then you get a punch in the face. You can't stop it. I'm here in defense of moshing people. Bruh, I'm not getting any younger, but this stuff gave me adrenaline back in the day. This was my release. I absolutely adored it. And when I perform in bands, honestly, I'm averse to this. People want to go violent. If people want to start pit beef and do this and that, it's not my fucking problem. It's not my problem. You're engaging with the music. That's your problem, not mine. I'm selfish when it comes to that. Let's keep it moving. Mike Portnoy, founder and ex-drummer of Dream Theater and Avenged Sevenfold, where he briefly filled in after the death of the Rev, criticised moshing in an interview published on his website. Well, he shouldn't have joined Avenged Sevenfold, should he? We've listened to Avenged Sevenfold's debut record. They got breakdowns galore. It's a metalcore band. I don't think he's commenting in regards to... Well, he filled... I don't know. I assume he's commenting in regards to being the drummer of Dream Theater, not necessarily Avenged Sevenfold. Because he shouldn't have joined the band if he had a problem with moshing. I think our audience have become a little more attentive and less of that type of mosh mentality. I understand you want to release that energy, thank you. But once people start doing that through her... I've read this before, because I used to be a big Dream Theater fan. Through her eyes, it gets ridiculous. So this time around, we're consciously aiming at theatres that people can actually sit down and enjoy the show and be comfortable without them having to worry about their legs falling off or being kicked in the face by a mosh pit. So that will probably eliminate that problem anyway. You know what? As far as Dream Theater is concerned, I do agree. You don't want to go to a prog rock event, and I don't know why people find the energy to do that at a prog rock event. You know what I mean? And the market appeals to. I can't see people moshing. So I agree with Portnoy on that one. There has to be a space and a time. You know what I mean? Even though Dream Theater, low key, do have some heavy riffs. 16-year-old Jessica McCallick, I hope I spelled it right, was an Australian girl who died as a result of asphyxiation after being crushed in a mosh pit during the 2001 Big Day Out festival during a performance by new metal band Limp Bizkit. Once again, it's a capacity thing. Big, massive festival, hundreds of thousands of people all coming together. Big, large band Limp Bizkit. It's not a moshing thing. It's a capacity thing. You're not going to die of asphyxiation when it comes to your little local events. I'm anti big money corporate music festival shit. So that's why I speak quite boldly of this. Look at the real problem here. It's the fucking cash cows. At that same festival, post-hardcore band at the drive-in ended their set only after 3 songs due to the audience's moshing. Right, well, I hope they didn't get paid fully for that. You know what I mean? Groove metal group Five Finger Death Punch had an incident when during the... Hold on, I'm getting a quick ring, people. Uno momento. Hello, let's keep going. So, of course, in regards to the passings of these poor people, I just want to emphasise, I am sympathetic. It shouldn't happen. There should be appropriate health and safety regulations within the venues that ensure that the punters, the clientele, the money is safe and sound. Because as a business, let alone as a human being, you don't want this happening in your premise. It's going to bring you more problems than you would like to deal with. So I've got a thing with capacity. I always pay attention to capacity when I go to a new venue and so forth. The first thing I wonder and inquire is, what's the cap? What's the cap? And that's not because of incidents like this, but it's a very important factor of a venue, and is and should be a showcase of what bands will and can be performing there. So, 16-year-old, could you imagine that? I don't know if any of you have had any experience in regards to being, you know what I mean? You know, it's not a good experience. Groove metal group Five Finger Death Punch had an incident when during the song White Knuckles at a concert in Hartford, Connecticut, a young man received a compound fracture on his ankle in a mosh pit. Ivan Moody, the band's lead singer, stopped the show, leaped into the crowd with Zoltan Bathory, the band's rhythm guitarist, and carried the injured man onto the stage. From where he was taken to the hospital, Moody had been quoted saying, as I looked him square in the face and asked him if he was okay or if there was anything I could do for him, he looked over at me, still in shock, and said, "You guys effing rock." Moody stated, "I felt bad because what had happened. I missed the old Pantera kids who would just throw each other. Just respect each other, people. Come on." Bathory stated, "Because he broke his leg, I threw down my guitar. We just finished when he broke his leg, and I came out and I stayed with him until paramedics showed up. These are my people, and that's how it is." I appreciate that when he states, "These are my people, and that's how it is." I'm a little bit iffy in regards to shutting down the show because of that. Because they are your people, so your people have paid in and taken their time to come to your event, and you're going to shut it down because of one person. Makes sense and it doesn't make sense. What do you think of that one? Joey DeMeo of American heavy metal band Manowar has been known to temporarily stop concerts upon seeing moshing and crowd surfing, claiming it is dangerous to other fans. It's sad as fuck. Former Slipknot percussionist Chris Fain spoke about the state of audience interaction following the onstage incident and subsequent legal issues involving Lamb of God's Randy Blythe, who was eventually found not guilty of criminal wrongdoing in the death of a concert-goer, despite being held morally responsible. Fain briefly addressed the Blythe situation, stating, "I think, especially in America, moshing has turned into a form of bullying." Yeah, I've seen a video, right? This was time ago, but this is something that sticks in my mind. I seen something where Slipknot have said, "Everybody sit down on the floor" or something. And then one of the members of Slipknot goes around, and one fella who's like not sat down properly or something like that gets hit by a member of the band. And of course it's not like blown up like with the title Slipknot fan punches somebody and all this and that, because, you know, the guy's probably in awe that he's seeing Slipknot and engaging with Slipknot. But I've seen that happen from the actual band. You know, there's a lot about Slipknot I dislike. The big guy stands in the middle and just chucks any small kid that comes near him. It happens. A good novelty is it happening in Slayer pits. They don't mosh properly anymore. It sucks because... And the thing is, you can't really help, especially if it's a push pit, you can't help the big guy just having power. Just being a big guy and the little guys just getting thrown away. It's just the way it goes, isn't it? That's, you know what I mean? Dynamics. They don't mosh properly anymore. It sucks because that's not what it's all about. Those guys need to be kicked out. A proper mosh pit is a great way to be as a group and dance and just do your thing. So there we go. We've just learned a little bit about moshing. I've had a lot to say in regards to the arguments against moshing. Let me be real with you people. If there's no dancing at the metal or the hardcore punk rock event, I don't even know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to go. That's how invested I am within this form of expression. It's so corny in its own way, right? But whereas people go and listen to dance music and on the weekends have nights out where they can dance with their friends on the dance floor and tap their feet and enjoy music and have a few to drink and do that, this is my equivalent. Going to an event and dancing in my own way, letting off steam and all that, and to hear the artists performing, whom I am respectfully, projecting my energy towards, saying, no, we don't want that. Yeah, I don't like it personally. I understand for health and safety purposes, but we've spoken about that. If the venue wants to throw people out, venue needs to throw people out. That's their problem. Let's keep it moving. We've got... Whoa, we got a praise pit. A colloquial name given to a mosh pit which occurs at a Pentecostal Christian church. This might be the hardest thing going. A praise pit is a colloquial name given to a mosh pit which occurs at a Pentecostal Christian church service. The phrase was first coined in the late 90s at the Planet Shakers conference in Adelaide, South Australia, as a response to criticisms within the church regarding the increasingly secularised manner of youth worship activities. Since then, the term has entered popular usage among young Australian Pentecostal Christians, with some major West Australian conferences like Festival and Phenomena using the word heavily in advertising. We need to get some videos on people. We need to check some praise pits out. I'm all for that. The praise pit. Lord of mercy. Come on now. Let's keep it moving. We're going to have a look at... We might see what we got on crowd surfing and stage diving next, people. Hold on tight.